So many of us, including myself, were born to unconscious parents. Parents who just parented us the way they were parented, and at the level of their own consciousness and given the resources they had, did the best that they truly could. So while I think it's important to note that, you can place responsibility on them for having raised us for the way they did, it's also important to note that that doesn't have to come at the expense of also having compassion and understanding for them as individuals, as people themselves. Because most likely it didn't start with you. It wasn't personal, and most likely it was a lineage of generation after generation just repeating the same cycle of emotional neglect, abuse, trauma, anxiety, depression, all of those heavy, difficult things. Because I often get asked, how can I have compassion for my parents when all I have is anger for my childhood? And I would say that they're not necessarily mutually exclusive. I think that they're both valid, important energies to move through during the healing process. One of the most important parts of healing yourself, I think, is reparenting yourself. And reparenting is giving yourself all that you needed or lacked as a child and now in adulthood. It's becoming the dream parent of your own life. And it's not easy work at all. But I would say it is one of the most rewarding and fulfilling parts of this journey, because not only do you get to rewrite the narrative of your own life, but you get to rewrite some of the narratives that have come before you and rewrite all of the narratives that are going to come after you. Like, I am healing and breaking these intergenerational cycles, so my grandchildren will never ever have to think of trauma as synonymous with just our culture. Like, no, that stops with me. So today I'm going to share with you how I've been reparenting myself, or the 4 areas that I've been doing it in, and a huge thank you to Visible for partnering with me on this video. Number 1, that's just making all of your adult tasks that seem really mundane and small, but they're super important, just as convenient and as seamless as possible, so that you can just do things that are more important than waste your time doing these things. So from phone service to renter's insurance to getting things repaired that are breaking, all of that. So Visible is really cool because it is the first all-digital US phone service, and I would have loved to have this in college because I spent so many hours at the phone store, and at one point I was spending $120 a month when I was like 21 because I just wanted to be apart from my family's plan, and it was just not the vibe, man. Visible is really cool because all you have to do is download the Visible app and they will overnight you a phone, and they have so many phones to choose from, or you can use your phone if it's compatible, and they'll overnight you a SIM card as well, and all you have to do is install it through the app. All your phone and your services all good from there, and it takes less than like 5 minutes, and you never have to go into a phone store, don't ever have to talk to a phone service representative, and it is unlimited data, text, talk. You can use it as a hotspot, and it's on Verizon's network, 5G included. But when you also refer people, you can get your bill to $5 a month. So they're really all about referrals and just spreading the word. And it's also even easier if you bring your own eSIM capable device, which basically means that the eSIM is now built into the device, so you don't have to break or lose a SIM card again. It's one less thing to do or have to go somewhere to do, because I used to have so much social anxiety as well when I was in college, and so doing that task was always really daunting for me. I would highly recommend checking out Visible with my link in the description box below. Also, my other favorites are TaskRabbit for my armoire recently broke, and I didn't want to ask my dad to come out, and one of my, I want to switch out the blinds to blackout blinds, and so TaskRabbit has been really amazing for that. And if you're a young adult looking for renter's insurance, literally get Lemonade. It's an amazing app. It makes everything so easy, and it can be as low as like $5. And also I love Handy for cleaning. There are so many different plans, and I've been using it everywhere I've moved to each new place in LA. So those are all my apps that kind of just make my adulting tasks so easy, so I can focus on things that are more important to me, like healing and emotional growth and stuff. Number 2, communication skills, more importantly, non-violent communication skills and boundary setting. So most of the time I feel like when we have codependency issues or people-pleasing issues, or I don't know, some type of issue, a lot of it stems from a lack of communication skills and a lack of healthy boundary setting. That's what I've learned in my 2 years in therapy, because before I went to therapy I thought I had the like, I was like, oh, I have such strong boundaries, like I don't let people tell me what to do. But actually, I definitely have people-pleasing tendencies, and I definitely stuff down a lot of times when people hurt me because I think that I have a lot of compassion for them, but realizing that you have to have compassion for yourself first, have authentic compassion for others. And so a book that has been changing my life is Nonviolent Communication by Marshall B. Rosenberg, PhD. And basically, his book is just saying that the way we communicate and the language we use is very hostile and actually really violent. It's accusatory, which then allows people to not even hear us, but to actually be quite defensive. And this is all about how to increase our compassion, which is a natural human ability, he says, and our empathy for others, so that we can make sure not only our needs are being met, but also the other party's needs are being met. Because the way we're communicating now is doing way more harm and resulting in more harm than good. So nonviolent communication is the integration of 4 things: consciousness, language, communication, and means of influence. Nonviolent communication serves our desires to do 3 things: increase our ability to live with choice, meaning, and connection, connect empathically with self and others to have more satisfying relationships, and sharing of resources so everyone is able to benefit. And I would say that this is such a helpful way for me communicating not only to my friends, but also my romantic partner, because I feel like so many of us were not taught nonviolent communication or healthy modes of communication because we were just like unconsciously becoming like our parents or what we saw in childhood. And like a little tip that I have is to always focus on your feelings, not in a narcissistic way, but in a way that's like focusing on, I feel blah, blah, blah when you do this. Or instead of saying like, you're selfish, like you don't care about me when you don't take out the trash, you say, I feel neglected when the trash isn't taken out because I asked for that need to be met. So kind of just really placing that responsibility onto you and not like saying that it's someone's fault that you feel a certain way or like they made you feel that way. Even if they did make you feel that way, I guess, it's just important to communicate I. And then also another thing that I've been doing and has been really helping is like saying the story I'm having is, and that's like saying like similarly when you don't take out the trash, you could say, when you don't take out the trash, the story I'm having is that you don't care about me, etc. So the story I'm having is also a really healthy way to narrate what's going on in your world and how you're perceiving things, because communication is honestly just clearing up everyone's perceived realities. There's a lot of miscommunication, a lot of misunderstandings, and we all are having life through our own lens, so nothing is objective. We're all living our realities through our lenses. So communication is a really great way to not only prevent more harm and violence, but also to clear the air and like to make sure that other people's needs and yours are getting met. So yeah, this is, oh my gosh, that was a long lecture for me. But yeah, it says words matter, find common ground. There's so many amazing charts in here, and I definitely I recommend this book so much. I mentioned this in my last video. It's Set Boundaries, Find Peace, and I love Nedra's therapist account. So even if you don't want to buy this book, I highly recommend using her free resource, which is her amazing Instagram on how to set boundaries. And also, most importantly, when you're setting boundaries, especially if you have not had boundaries before, to how to not feel guilty setting them, because when you're pretty much just giving to everyone, setting boundaries can be really, really anxiety inducing, and you can feel a lot of guilt because you're not used to operating at that level. Okay, and then another book that I'm reading is Running on Empty, Overcome Your Childhood Emotional Neglect, how your emotional tank can be left empty even with the best intentioned parents. And I'll be honest, I haven't read too much of it, but this is definitely within that realm of learning how to reparent myself. So I'll keep you updated on this. These are the 3 books that I think help a lot with boundaries and communication skills and just reparenting yourself and reteaching yourself, reprogramming healthier ways of navigating this world. So cute. Number 3, inner child work and play. And one of those things that I always, not things, okay, yeah, a thing, I guess. One of those things that I always wanted as a kid, as a little girl, was a dog. and my brother and I would always beg for one, but my mom would always say no. And I actually understand why. They're a lot of responsibility, but I think the most precious thing about dogs, or just animals in general, is how they bring out the inner child in everyone, and their softness and childlike sense of wonder and play and curiosity for the world is just like, it brings out, I feel like, such a gentle side of everyone. Yeah, so getting a dog, I know a lot of people probably know how much I love Komi, but like Komi is literally my dream dog manifested. I didn't even know that she like existed out there, someone that a dog could be like this. And yeah, inner child work is basically just reclaiming all the stuff that made you happy as a kid. And I always loved arts and crafts and like slime and like kinesthetic things. And I think I talked about it in my last video, reinventing yourself, or it was a couple of videos ago, but I bought like bubbles and Polly Pockets and Hello Kitty journals and Lisa Frank stickers, and I've just been having a lot of fun. I've been biking more and rollerblading more and just spending so much time doing all the things that I loved as a kid. And my mom would always say like, you're such a little kid at heart. And honestly, the secret to growing up is that you still have that childlike sense of wonder and sense of joy, and to cultivate that sense of play in everyday life, because that is when your light starts to dim by all these pseudo-adult responsibilities, which is why I think it's so important to make them as convenient and as seamless as possible, so you do have time to go rollerblading or to go biking or to blow bubbles at a picnic. So I think this is just a good reminder to not feel guilty or feel weird about doing those things. In fact, you should feel guilty and weird not reclaiming your inner child, because we need more joy, creativity, laughter, and play as we get older. We need them more and more. They're not just for kids. So yeah, I love Bonnie. I love you. You're so pretty. You're such a pretty girl. I love touching her little paw pads. So fucking cute. Okay, so I don't know if any of you know this, but this used to be this like $40 IKEA cart used to be my beauty product cart, but then I got rid of a lot of my beauty products and I made it into my toy cart. It will stop here though. This is all my grass. I have this toy, bubbles, this thing I used for a video. My best friend from high school, Sharon, actually Raylan too, they got me so much like custom TikTok slime. She bought me literally a whole bag's worth of slime. It's like all in here. My journals, paint, my karaoke mics, I have 2 now. And like my watercolors, paint brushes, favorite card games that expand in here. Oh my gosh, got rid of my beauty cart for my toy carts. Cheers to that. Okay, I'm gonna put my cart away now. This is 27. Oh no. The fourth, but not least in the slightest, I'm gonna say it on my bed. Ooh, so bright, is self-regulation and self-affirming. For me, reparenting myself really includes self-validation, self-regulation, self-soothing, because I didn't receive a lot of that as a child. And when I say self-affirming and self-validation, we're told that emotional suppression is a sign of strength. Don't cry, you're being too sensitive, or you don't have the right to be angry, especially when you're throwing a temper tantrum, or when you maybe talked back at your parents. And so I think something that I learned to do was to intensely intellectualize a lot of my feelings and to make logic out of them instead of just feeling them, because I was never allowed a safe space to feel my feelings. And so that resulted in me feeling very invalidated a lot of the times, and me feeling like it wasn't okay to be anything other than happy or calm. And I'm sure a lot of you out there can relate to that. This one is really important for me because it's essentially just learning to give myself compassion and to even apologize to myself, because oftentimes that inner critic in our head isn't our own. It is a past parents, a siblings, a bully, someone who was mean to you on the playground. That voice that says you're so stupid or you can't do anything right or who are you to do this isn't actually authentically yours. It was just programmed from the past. It's another person's voice, another person's comments that stay in your head for a long time. And so obviously negative self-talk doesn't feel very authentic when you are just beginning this journey. But I think if you can't, praise yourself and say, I'm so great, you're so great, you're doing so well, because a lot of that will feel fake. Something I've learned to do is at least to apologize to myself in the moment when I've slipped up and said something negative to myself. Like, I'll be like, oh, you're so stupid. How did you not know that? And then now I'll just catch myself and I'll just apologize. I'll be like, Amy, I'm so sorry. You're not stupid. I was just frustrated. And that can feel a lot more authentic than saying like, I'm so smart. I never make any mistakes. And healing is subtle. Healing is gradual. Healing is in that moment, me stopping myself and having the capability or having the ability to apologize to myself and realize that that's not how I want to speak to myself. Also, self-affirmation is just like affirming that sometimes you are a great person and sometimes you do well. Like being able to relish in the joy and the pride in what you've achieved or how you treated someone. Because, like when I do a nice task for someone and it feels good and they feel very, very feel very loved, like sometimes I'd be like, oh, like don't feel so happy about doing that. That's like the bare minimum. But no, like I'm like, no, feel really good about yourself. It's really good to feel good and you're deserving of feeling good. And I think that's what self-affirming is really just seeing yourself and giving yourself the compassion that you deserve and apologizing to yourself in the moment when you're being unkind to yourself, because it's really hard to just go from being really honestly abusive to yourself and then just being like, I'm so great, like I love my body. Even when you say mean things to your body or about your body, you can say, no, I don't mean that, or I'm working on not meaning that, and I respect you. I respect you, arms. I respect you, body, and I respect you, because at the very least, we can have respect for our bodies for keeping us alive and healthy and safe for the most part. And self-validation is really just saying, like when I think the other day I was feeling really lonely and scared, and it's so easy to demonize those feelings because we feel a lot of shame. Society tells us to feel shame for having a human experience, which is feeling all of the emotions that we came here to feel. And then you start to feel really sad about feeling lonely and scared. You start to feel guilty or ashamed for feeling lonely and scared. And so how about we just remove that second layer and just allow us to feel lonely and scared? And so, when my friend says like, oh, I was spiraling and I know I shouldn't be doing that. How about we just say it's okay to spiral. It's okay to have a depressive episode. It's okay to feel lonely and scared, because when I was feeling lonely and scared, I was trying to rationalize it and intellectualize it. Well, it's because of this, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, none of this is making me feel better. What's making me feel better is just saying, it's okay to feel lonely and scared. It's okay to doubt yourself. You shouldn't doubt yourself. You shouldn't do this. It's just more shaming. It's a shame technique. It's a shame tactic, I guess. And shame doesn't produce results. Shame produces more shame. And that's why we have so much judgment towards others. So something I've been practicing is just literally being like, it's okay to blah, blah, blah. If I didn't want to work out today, instead of being like, you should have worked out today, you should have done this, I'll just be like, you know what? It's okay to not have worked out today. It's okay. And then that compassion and that softness allows me to want to get back up the next day and to actually maybe work out instead of just beating myself up. So the next time you're feeling lonely, scared, lazy, which I don't think lazy is even a real term, because there are very valid reasons why people procrastinate, very valid reasons as to why you can't have the most productive state of mind when you're going through so much emotional turmoil. So it's okay, whatever you're going through, it's okay to feel that way, and it's okay to have messed up. You're beautifully human, and we don't need any more shame and judgment and guilt in our lives, because that doesn't produce transformation. What produces transformation is kindness, softness, and compassion and acceptance. So I think this has been really important, and next time you're feeling anything that society says you shouldn't be feeling, tell yourself that Amy says it's okay to feel that way, and it's okay to have missed a workout. It's okay to have really indulged on yourself today. It's okay. It's okay. Also, with saying okay to yourself, something that I do, especially when I cry, is tell myself that it's okay to cry, it's okay to feel those feelings, but I also give myself a hug like this, and I just cry and I tell myself it's okay to feel scared, it's okay to doubt yourself, it's okay. It's so normal and human-like to feel afraid and lonely, but what we don't want to do is have that loneliness and fear become the driver in our life. They still need to take a back seat. Anyways, so those are the 4 ways that I've been reparenting myself. I would love to do a part 2, because I'm going to be constantly on this journey of reparenting myself, and I hope that this could inspire you. And also be sure to check out Visible with my link in the description box below. It is the first all-digital US phone service trying to give you back time so that you can do all of the reparenting that you need. All right, bye guys.